times of challenge, when the very ground beneath our feet begins to crumble, it is easy to forget the timeless wisdom that has carried the greats, warriors, philosophers, and leaders through the darkest of days. When everything seems to be falling apart, when the weight of the world presses down on you, there is a power within you, buried deep in the recesses of your mind, that can carry you through. The question is not whether you will be tested, but how you will respond to those tests. Honor and excellence are not concepts for the faint-hearted. They are the inheritance of those who understand that greatness is not a gift. It is earned. It is forged in the fires of adversity. Excellence is not an event that occurs once in a lifetime. It is a lifestyle, a mindset that shapes everything you do. It is not about the one moment of triumph that everyone remembers. It is about the daily grind, the small choices, the moments when no one is watching and nothing is expected of you, but to do what you know is right. It is in these moments that true excellence is built. Most people in the world today believe success is about talent, luck, or being in the right place at the right time. They look at the people at the top and think they have something special, some kind of gift, a head start, better circumstances than their own. But that is a lie. It is a story that the world tells to keep you in your place. The truth is far darker, far more challenging, and yet far more liberating. Success is not given to you. It is not an accident. It is something you create every single day through the choices you make. It is built in the small moments, the quiet decisions that no one sees and few appreciate. It is in those early mornings when the world is still asleep, when the darkness still lingers and the air is thick with uncertainty. It is in those late nights when exhaustion threatens to break you, but you push on. It is in the moments when you could walk away, when you could give in, when the world would forgive you for quitting, but you don't. You rise above. You do the work. You refuse to make excuses. That is where excellence is built. You see, excellence is not a feeling you chase. It is not a fleeting moment of inspiration that sparks when the conditions are just right. No, excellence is something you become. It is something you train yourself to be, day in and day out, through your habits, your choices, your actions. It is not about getting it right every time. Perfection is an illusion, and if you chase it, you will always be frustrated. But consistency, that is what matters. It is about showing up every single day with the intention to give your best effort, regardless of the outcome. It is about having a standard for yourself that is non-negotiable. What happens when you develop this habit of daily excellence? Success becomes inevitable. You stop chasing after results, and they begin to chase you. You stop relying on motivation to push you forward, and you start running on discipline. You stop waiting for the perfect moment, and you create momentum through consistent action. Success is not a destination. It is a byproduct of who you are becoming in the process. So how do you develop this mindset? How do you cultivate the habits, the systems, and the mindset necessary to embody excellence every single day? How do you train yourself to operate at a higher standard, without hesitation, without debate? The truth is, it begins with the smallest decisions that most people overlook, but which will ultimately define your path. The first and most important habit of daily excellence is mastering your mornings. The way you start your day dictates the way you live your day. If you wake up and immediately surrender to the chaos, hitting snooze, rushing through your morning, reacting to everything around you, your day will follow that pattern. You will be a slave to distractions, procrastination, and inconsistency. But if you take control of the first moments of your day, if you begin with discipline, focus, and purpose, those qualities will carry through every action that follows. Excellence begins in the silence of the early hours, before the world awakens, and before the distractions of the day have a chance to take hold. It starts when you wake up with intention. You don't wait for the right moment to get up. You don't wait for motivation to strike. You move, no matter how you feel. You wake up immediately when the alarm goes off. No snooze, no delay. When you do this, you train your mind to avoid procrastination. You start your day with an unshakable commitment to execute, and that commitment carries you through every challenge. Mastering your mornings is not just about waking up early. It's about how you wake up. The most successful people in the world don't stumble out of bed in a fog. They wake up with a clear purpose. Some of them meditate, some of them journal. Others move their bodies to wake up their physiology. But they all have one thing in common. They control their first thoughts, their first actions, and their first priorities. You must create a routine in the morning that strengthens your mindset, energizes your body, and focuses your attention on what matters most. The second habit of daily excellence is controlling your focus. Your attention is your most valuable resource. The reality is that whatever you focus on expands. If you focus on your problems, they grow larger. If you focus on distractions, you lose time and energy. But if you direct your focus toward what matters, toward growth, execution, and results, you will find that your actions align with your goals. Excellence is built in those moments when you make the conscious decision to reject distractions and focus your attention on what truly matters. To control your focus, you must guard it like a warrior guards his post. You must train your mind to block out everything else. Most people wander through their day, never fully engaged in anything, bouncing from one distraction to the next. But the highest performers, the true masters of their craft, operate differently. They understand that focus is the key to excellence. They do not let every email, every message, every phone call dictate their priorities. They set clear rules for their attention. They eliminate distractions, create uninterrupted time blocks, and stay locked in on their mission. Every time you say no to something meaningless, you reinforce your ability to concentrate. Every time you say yes to your mission, you strengthen the habit of focus. The third habit is mastering self-discipline. Discipline is the bridge between where you are now and where you want to be. It is not about talent. It is not about luck. It is not about intelligence. It is about having the strength to make yourself do what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. Discipline is a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. Every time you make an excuse, every time you let yourself off the hook, you weaken that muscle. But every time you follow through, every time you push through the resistance, every time you keep your commitment, you make that muscle stronger. Discipline is about eliminating negotiation. Most people lose the battle before they even start, because they allow their minds to negotiate. Should I go to the gym today? Should I work on my goals? Should I stick to my routine? This back and forth is exhausting, and it drains your energy. The most successful people do not negotiate with themselves. They don't wait for the right moment. They don't ask how they feel. They simply act because it has become part of who they are. The key to building discipline is starting small. Make small commitments to yourself. And when you follow through, you strengthen your discipline muscle. The fourth habit is developing relentless consistency. Excellence is not built in bursts of effort. It is built in the day-to-day, the week-to-week, the year-to-year. Most people start strong, but then fade away when they don't see immediate results. But those who achieve excellence do not stop when they don't see progress. They understand that growth takes time. They keep showing up, day after day, no matter what. They trust the process, even when the results are slow to come. They know that consistency is the key to long-term success. Consistency is not about doing everything perfectly. It's about doing it every day, even when you don't feel like it, even when the progress isn't immediate, even when no one else is watching. The people who succeed don't rely on motivation. They rely on consistency. They create systems, routines, and environments that make success automatic. Systems remove the friction between you and the action you need to take. They make it easier to show up, and they eliminate the need for willpower. Finally, the fifth habit of daily excellence is setting and maintaining high personal standards. Your standards define your results. If you tolerate mediocrity, you will live a mediocre life. If you demand excellence from yourself, your life will rise to meet that standard. Most people lower their standards to match their environment. They adapt to the people around them, to the norms of society, to the expectations of others. But the people who truly excel raise their standards. They never compromise on what they believe they are capable of achieving. They hold themselves to a higher standard, and as a result, they create a life that reflects that standard. So, as you stand here, faced with your own challenges, I ask you, what will you choose? Will you settle for mediocrity, or will you rise to meet the call of excellence? The world will test you, that is certain. But the question is, will you pass the test? Will you meet the challenge with honor, with excellence, with unshakable resolve? The path to greatness is not an easy one, but it is the only one worth walking. Step forward, not because it's easy, but because it is the only path that leads to true victory.